why this equalization fund was put in the Constitution of Kenya and for what reasons. The aim, Mr. Speaker, was solely to be able to address disparities among regions in the country that have been left behind. In fact, I believe that the framers of the Constitution were advised by Session Paper number 10, where development was constantly focused on the areas where the train was, leaving regions. Mr. Speaker, I've had the contribution by my two colleagues who spoke before me. The first one is Senator Cherargei. And today, for the very first time, let me acknowledge the good work that Senator Cherargei does in this country. You know, I've been with Senator Cherargei for the last 8 years in this parliament. And when at the rise of the House, you'll still find Senator Cherargei. So the people of Nandi, just know that you have a good asset. He might be cantankerous, he might be unorthodox, but he is very diligent in terms of his agility and dedication to issues affecting Kenyans. Mr. Speaker, is beyond measure. I really appreciate him for that. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, let me begin by completely disagreeing by certain sentiments that my good friend Senator Cherargei shared here in terms of the city. The city, I beg to differ. My sentiments could be unorthodox, but it is not marginalized. It is completely not marginalized. The city is defined as a city. Mosiro in Narok County is not defined as a city. A rural village in Garissa County is not defined as a city. So this business or debate that my dear sister also, Senator Karen Nyamu, is also supporting that Nairobi should be considered as marginalized. Those people, I dare say, who live in the slums do so because of poor policies, because of rural-urban migration. If we could spend our time, Mr. Speaker, if we could be able to really focus on developing our counties, there would be no reason as to why people would migrate from Kakamega to Nairobi. There'll be no reason as to why people will move Garissa to Nairobi, from Narok to Nairobi. And when they come from Nandi to Nairobi, and I think that is a conversation we need to have as a country. What do we do to uplift the standard of living of our people who live in our rural areas? The framers of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, you know, drew the line for us. They divided resources. They went ahead and said, we will put a sunset clause on money to be sent to counties. It is quite mind-boggling, Mr. Speaker, and quite self-defeating when today we start talking about two equalization funds to be able to implement marginalized policies. When the money has been set aside, 46 billion, this is a year, so it will just be reduced to a talking house where we are talking and the money is not going out. That is the argument we should be having. Those regions, I know the committee or the Commission of Revenue Allocation has developed different marginalization policies to be able to advise this equalization fund. But every year, Mr. Speaker, this Senate passes the resources to be sent, to be implemented, then it becomes a tug of war. You know, members of parliament wants to be the ones to be able to implement that. National government wants to take that money. Now that we have a clear path, the most important thing for us to ask ourselves is these 19 or 14, 15 projects that have been proposed to be implemented under the second marginalization policy. And previously, those other ones under the Equalization Fund Act number 3 of 2018, which was bringing together resources that were supposed to have been sent out to counties for 2014, 15, 16, and 17. That was never sent. That is the question, Mr. Speaker. That is where we should be putting all our thoughts in to say, CS Mbadi, what can we do for you to send this money? What can you do for you to be able to send this money, for this money to go to regions. You know, the constitution is there. So when I hear people saying, oh, it has been delayed because of debates, because of what? No. It's really just wasting time. So, Mr. Speaker, we have these marginalized regions. We have people who do not even have water in their regions, Mr. Speaker. In the 21st century, we are out in the streets arguing, fighting about governance. We're talking about issues. I'm not hearing people saying, I'm going to protest because I do not have water in my village. I'm not hearing people say, I do not have a hospital in my village. Today, Mr. Speaker, I saw that there was a school. Mr. Speaker, my minutes. This is an issue. I beg to request that we can postpone it to tomorrow so that we are not in a rush to move all the other bills, because these are issues that we need to address, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to request that you allow me to go through this. I haven't been around.
Very well, Senator.
And there are issues that are very important. And I really do wish that all the senators who are here to talk about these projects, to name projects. Mr. Speaker, while I was seated here, I received a text message from a Kenyan who was given a contract during the first policy. I think it was under the Act number Equalization Fund number 3 of 2018. Until today, Mr. Speaker, that Kenyan has not been paid their money. That is what we should be talking about. Those projects. When are we ever going to become of age when we talk about democracy? We are busy talking about tribal issues. We are busy talking about power. But there's no single day, Mr. Speaker, that we can say, now, let us audit these funds. Let us, today, this afternoon, Mr. Speaker, is one of the most important afternoons in the Senate calendar, where we are talking about division of revenue. We are talking about equalization fund. The next one, we are going to be talking about dividing money among the counties, the 47 counties. This is a county allocation of revenue. But when I shook my head like this, all like this, you know, and particularly that's the reason why I'm here, and maybe people have issues, but I think it's a day that we don't need to rush things. It's a day that we need to stand here and say, how much money is going to Narok County? With this equalization fund, these marginalized areas. Mr. Speaker, there was, in the last parliament, the Commission of Revenue and Allocation had even gone down. They had narrowed the marginalized areas to sub-locations. You'll find that in Narok County, for instance, you will go to Narok East. But in Narok East, even though money will be given to Narok East, it will not be given to help the entire Narok East. It will be to probably go to Mosiro, where people don't have a health center, they have no water, they have no what. If it is a Murwedikir, if it is Kilgoris constituency, it will be areas that it will help be able to uplift the standard of living of these people. What, Mr. Speaker, I want to invite us all now is to debate how we are going to change our future. Because the arguments that we've been having have been self-defeating. The fights that we've been having have been self-defeating. We now need to ask ourselves, what do we need to do? What belts do we need to tighten? What policies do we need to come up with? So that whatever amount of money we pass in this house can be released. You know, sometimes I think the reason why a lot of things are not done when it comes to the issue of the Senate is because we do not have an implementation committee. Correct. I think the day we have an implementation committee with serious consequences, then when we pass this 46 billion, or all the amount of money that needs to be able to go to the counties, we can follow through to ensure that that money is done. After this, we will be discussing about county allocation fund. When we discuss that, Mr. Speaker, will those funds go to projects that have solely been selected by Treasury, or does it have an input of the citizens? The reason why there is such a huge disparity, the reason why there is such a big fight between the younger generation and the current generation, between the millennials and the Gen Zs or the other generation, is because we are not speaking the same language. Instead of doing away with this rural-urban migration and being intentional by the money we allocate and we follow through, we are busy now talking about, let us improve life in the slums. Why not start new cities? Why not go in and say, areas which are just left like that, go set up a city, move people, they move on. Mr. Speaker, if you go to Nigeria, Nigeria decided we are tired of this, lack of coordination. And they came up with Abuja, brand new city. They are building new cities, as a country, Kenya. Today, Mr. Speaker, what we should be asking ourselves is that what will help uplift or change the lifestyle of our people? It becomes very expensive, Mr. Speaker. Now we are talking about this equalization fund. There's some money here which is being earmarked to take electricity to those marginalized areas. But let us be realistic here. Mr. Speaker, I'm a pastoralist. And Mr. Speaker, you're also a pastoralist. I live here, and I have probably 2,000 or 3,000 acres of land. To get to where you are, you also have another 2,000 acres of land. By the time we build an electric line to you, we would have spent all the money that is supposed to be able to help people. Why don't we think about creating cities, small towns, even in rural areas, Mr. Speaker? So I went to Rwanda, and I was impressed with what Rwandans are doing when we visited President Kagame. And that is one of the things that, Mr. Speaker, I have committed myself to do it for the people of Ilchamus in Baringo County. Bring them together, have them some social houses. When you put them together, there is enough security. You can put a police post there. You can bring electricity to them. You can give them water. You can also help them use the resources which are located in Lake Baringo. We move that to other regions as well, Mr. Speaker, of Narok County, of Garissa County. So, Mr. Speaker, the argument that I'd like us to have is how well do we ensure that we send this money that we have allocated, Mr. Speaker. The money...
Senator Olekina, you will have a balance of 7 minutes when this motion returns on the floor of the House. Honorable Senators, it is now 6:30 p.m., time to adjourn the Senate. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until tomorrow, Wednesday, 16th July 2025 at 9:30 p.m.